Hi Lancers, we are getting ready to start our major project for our Canada unit. That is our research project about Northern Canada. For this project, our goal is to strengthen both your research skills and your communication skills. So you'll be researching life in Northern Canada and creating a photo essay about what it is like to live there. So I want to start by looking at what our prompt is, and then we'll look at an exemplar from years past. So for our Canada Research Project, and I'm going to use my highlighter as I go over this. You're welcome to follow along, use your pencil or a highlighter. The prompt is, describe the climate of Northern Canada and explain how it affects the people living there. Specifically discuss the population, transportation, and food. So I want you to think about that prompt there, and I want you to think, what are the different topics within this prompt that we will need to collect information about in order to completely answer this question? So starting with this first part, describe the climate of Northern Canada. So as I look at that, it looks like we are going to have to collect information about the climate. And we need to then explain how it affects the people living there. But then it goes on to say, specifically discuss three things: the population, transportation, and food. So when we're doing our research, we want to be reading and viewing with a purpose in mind. And that purpose is to collect information on the topics that will help us answer this question. So the topics that we need to research first is climate, and that's the climate of Northern Canada. And then we need to collect information about how that climate affects the population, the transportation, how people get around, and the food, the kinds of things people eat. So I want to show you real quick a sample project. So again, these you will have a couple of options. There's a lot of writing on this project here. You will be writing either a detailed paragraph or a multi-paragraph essay, and that will depend on your skills as a researcher and as a writer. So if this looks overwhelming to you, don't worry. There will be options. Some of you will be doing a multi-paragraph essay. Some of you will be doing a detailed paragraph. Once you've done your writing, you will turn it into a photo essay. So the essay has a slide that introduces our topic. So this would have the topic sentence or the thesis statement, the introduction. And then we have slides about how the climate affects the population. Each slide will have text, and it will have images that include captions as well, so we know what the images are that we're looking at. This one's about transportation, and this one here was about food. And then finally, a concluding slide with your conclusion or your concluding sentence. So that's an overview of what the project is going to look like when you're done. You will need to use in your project these 4 vocabulary words. So those words are, you want to pay special attention as you're doing research. It'd be very difficult to answer this question without using the word climate. You want to use these in a meaningful way. You need to use the word tundra, where if you remember what we learned about tundra is that relates to climate. Permafrost is another vocabulary word from our words for this unit that I want you to use. Again, that refers to climate. And the final sentence, the final word you'll need to use is population density. So that will relate to how the climate affects the population. So let's look briefly at what you will be graded on for this project. We will look more in depth at the rubrics later, but you'll be receiving 3 separate grades for this research project. So 3 separate grades will go in the grade book. You'll be graded on criterion A, that's knowing and understanding. So when I give you this grade, I'll be looking at how much do you show that you know about the prompt, so how much information do you include, and how well did you use these assigned vocabulary words. Those two things will make up your grade for knowing and understanding. If you choose to write a detailed paragraph rather than a multi-paragraph essay, you cannot get a score of 7 or 8. You can get 5, 6, depending on how detailed your paragraph is. It would have to be pretty detailed to get up into that 6 range. So if you write a paragraph rather than an essay, this is the only grade that it will impact. You'll also be receiving a grade for investigating. That's criterion B, and those are your research skills. So after you finish collecting your research in your notebook, you will bring your research notes up to me. I will check them over and you'll be getting a grade for that. So what we're looking for when it comes to research is, did you set your notes up correctly? And so are you collecting notes in an organized way? And we talked about this a little bit when we collected notes on the Regions of Canada movie. And then also, are you collecting relevant information only? So only information that relates to the topic. And then kind of along with that, are you finding all the relevant information in the different sources? And I'll talk down here in more detail about how we're going to set up and collect our notes. Finally, you'll be receiving a grade for criterion C, that's communicating. So is your paragraph or essay well written? And is your slideshow well organized and informative? So the images that you choose, how well they support your ideas, things like that. So these are the 3 separate grades that you'll be receiving for the project.